strangers, but they stay fools. I'll break the chains, take the pain to save you. Save you. Baby, I've been high and low. All the feelings I won't show. It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off alone. Pretty little fears I got, second guessing every shot. I won't lie, no I won't lie. I'm free but now I'm lost. Freedom comes at a cost. I won't lie, not this time. It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off alone. Save you, save you. Save you, save you. Ain't nothing we haven't tried. I'll sing you one last goodbye, and I won't think twice. So, ready or not, I'll go. I'm setting you free for sure right now. Don't ask me how.
You don't wanna get done up, come a cool full of stunners. We don't run up on shot, get run up, shut up. Your mouth get stun up, shut up. All of my stunners gon' run up, get run up, 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 hit, run up, run up, run up, run up, run up, run up, get You don't wanna get done up, come a cool full of stunners. We don't run up on shot, get run up, shut up. Your mouth get stun up, shut up. All of my stunners gon' run up, get run up, 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 hit, run up, 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 run up.
amazing, Jays. I jumped the gun so hard that the animations came up and I was just going full
Welcome
swing.
back, ladies and gentlemen, to ECS. Barnow clearly can't do the intro, so I'll take it off him.
Accurate. I can't really argue with that, to be honest. But moving on from that, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am very excited, and I'm not
excited?
sure why. I can't even remember who's playing. Barnow, tell me.
We have Makers versus Aqualex up tonight. We have got...
How could I forget?
Because you're an idiot. It's
Yeah,
Makers
I know.
Academy. They are coming in here. This is not the team going to Invitational, but we cast these guys earlier on in their last Playday, and my goodness, they showed us that it is not just their main team that can impress. Absolutely, these guys can go nuts. Look at those ratings. Karyudo coming in here. He's fresh. No stats on him. Katsola, Apex, Kiliator, Rustin.
He shouldn't be. He was playing last time. I'm pretty sure.
The lowest rating being a
I don't know.
1.27 is nuts. Look at those KDs. Two like, I don't like to draw too much attention to KD. The game of Siege is much more complex than that, but when you're swinging such high numbers across the board, it's an absolute menace. Aqualux, a few familiar faces here from previous seasons. Matt's finally found himself a home, but not finding himself too much success. The minus two on the entry, not going to be too...
I don't know why they're Skittle.jpeg for this game, but there we go. Well, they'll hope to replicate some of the good form we saw from them yesterday. It was a pretty impressive performance overall from them, as I'm sure you'll remember. So this line, I think Apex is unavailable for this game. I believe I saw that he is not playing. He'll be subbed in. And actually, more importantly, these players right here are the ones, the ones who are... There we go. It's all been updated. And also... I completely forgot. What a disaster.
Hopefully, the game that we're about to watch is as much as a bloody mess as the introduction we can provide.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the well-trodden battlegrounds of Clubhouse and Oregon. So we've seen a little bit of these guys before on these maps. And it was look at the ops. The fact that we've got... Oh no, the Amaru is just there because of alphabetical order. I was going to be like, wow,
Yes.
they play Amaru, and it's like, wait,
They
no,
have
don't.
brought the Amaru in the past. We've seen them pull out all sorts of operators. I saw a Finka, a Blitz, a Glaz, all sorts, and that was just on Oregon last time out. They will do anything, Makers. They'll have a bit of fun, with it, which is what we like about them. Not just that they're good necessarily and that they're doing a good job. They're just fun. They seem to be enjoying themselves, and when that comes alongside victories, perfect, really.
You really can't complain, and it was fun to watch. I mean, Apex, while he maybe not be here today, he was a real tip of the spear that we saw really ramming into their opponents last time, and the ratings show it. I mean, just flat across. I mean, these stats, not massively mature. We are still early in the season, so there's plenty of time for those to get a little bit more time on them. Like when you start playing a brand new operator and you start vibing, and you're like, hey guys, I've got a 17 KD. Give it a season, it'll flatten out to your regular 2.5.
We do that a lot, don't we?
I mean, it's the only way we can get good stats.
Avex might not be here, but Matt is, and we saw him last season for Jaegers, a very consistent player. He's been picked up by the contenders team Aqualix here, and we've seen him do it at a very high level in the top division. Now in the second division, he could be the shining beacon of hope for Aqualix, who've had a bit of a rough start. A bit up and down so far in their intro games.
Up and down is correct. And Makers, I think, are going to be painting a bit of a target on their backs. They're new here in ECS. We haven't seen them here before. And they are making a splash. This is a really powerful entry from them, both on every map they make. They are getting plenty of those entry kills. And as they come into this league, they are definitely painting themselves as one of the big boys here in contenders. I think we mentioned this last time that we were casting them. I would be very surprised to not see these guys at least really contest for spots during the playoffs.
100%. I think they'll be one of the top dogs in general throughout this season. I would be very surprised if that is not the case. And of course, It's Oregon! Our favourite map. That's what we love to see. I don't know if that was planned, but it's hilarious. I mean, it's is that border or fortress? Or something?
Yeah, it looks like the icon. It looks like I think border's the default image. We are indeed going to Oregon, but Clubhouse will be our first pit stop. Maker's taking us over to Frankfurt. I don't know why it was Lions Free choosing Oregon on every single.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess they just get that choice as they've been pretty good so far this season. They just decided, you know what, you guys, you're playing Oregon. I think an idea of something like that. Maybe that's what we could do next season. Have all the other teams decide what the other teams are playing.
That would be funny. I would like that.
Yeah, because it mixed things up a bit. Because as much as these teams are both really interesting, I love seeing both these teams. Of course, Aquilix being ex-waifu warriors, I believe. We've seen them pull out some fantastic plays. Were they the first team we
cast? I think they were.
They were the first team we ever casted, yeah. So we've got
months ago when Jerry made that crucial mistake of allowing us into their life, into this sphere of the internet. I think we were like, right, we're gonna get casting for the first time, super excited, and then it was waifu warriors versus no square.
Yeah,
and we're like, right, this is a serious career. But I remember them being entertaining. I remember having so much fun back then, and they really haven't. We're carrying forward a few of those familiar names, and so I'm hopeful that they're going to show us some proper contention here. And I mean, like we said, right, Maker's painting a target on their back, and when you can really start preparing for a team like that, and you really come in hungry to take down a particular team, I don't know, is it going to inspire some interesting play and unpredictability? And that is, I think, what they're going to need.
Yes, well, in terms of that, I think I had a very, very brief discussion. I don't call it a discussion, just like a message with Matt. We were just talking about on Aquilix about how they can counter Makers today. And I did suggest that, given the crazy lineups that we've seen of operators, maybe, Aquilix, you just play the Clash and then you'll win.
Just a little bit of Clash. Just a crumb of Clash.
As we've only seen, I think we've only seen one player play Clash so far. That is Major Division. I haven't seen all the contenders.
We need to get you a backdrop that is just Clash.
I know.
Just a massive montage of Clash behind you.
Yeah,
we'll get there, buddy. Don't worry. We'll get there.
When the budget goes up a bit,
When you cross the threshold to professional caster at more than just a couple playoff games, we'll get you the setup. Don't worry.
Well, my plan was to always cast in costume, and I'd have like a Clash costume on.
Yeah.
And that'd be the whole kind of thing. But kind of bikini. I think Bikini Body kind of ruined.
He beat you to it. Yeah, he pulled it out for a creative match back at SI 20. No, SI 19. I think was.
Yeah, he kind of just ruined that. Now if I wear that, it just looks like I'm doing an impression of him doing one, so it's kind of
your love is your own. And look,
I mean, I could go further and paint my skin and shave my head.
Oof. Oh.
Not gonna do that though. Funnily enough.
Probably won't need to, because I think it won't be a massive surprise if we do find the Clash coming out. Clubhouse, she's not the most common. I mean, I remember. I think one of the first time we saw Clash brought out in a Pro League match was a couple of years back. Fabian from G2 brought out the Clash, and they went for an open CCTV hole with a Clash. Haven't seen that in a while. Didn't really catch on as a mainstay strat. But Oregon's a slightly different story. We're seeing Clash really be used as a utility soak operator, and when you're in the laundry, a Clash roaming through that main corridor, able to react quickly to different attacking pushes. If you're pushing from one position, the Clash just turns her attention towards you, and you can't just ignore her. You can't just completely turn your attention away. You immediately have to throw your utility out to get rid of it, and that makes her almost more valuable or more useful than all of the Jaegers and shields that you could bring.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too many of my stash clats. I don't want to give those away. I'm keeping the stash clats all just deep inside. I'm not gonna reveal it.
If you're looking for a dedicated Clash main for your team, eBack is looking for a PC and a team.
I'll be moving to PC soon, so you might actually see me. I mean, sign me up, Aquilix. That's what you want, really. You want a Clash main on your team.
A Clash and Nomad main.
Yeah, I will be playing on controller, even though I'm on PC.
Players.
Yeah.
Looks like the players are ready, and so we're just about here
Hurrah.
ready to dive into the matchup for today. Classic maps, some really entertaining teams. I'm excited for this one, and let's get ready to dive in to this matchup here at ECS.
Yeah, we know Aquilix are quite
Roll
strong
the
on
transition.
Clubhouse. We've seen it in the past. We know that Aquilix are quite strong here, but we also know that Makers are very strong.
Nailed it.
We've of course seen them do that before, and oh dear, that's a little bit of a sweep in the community predictions. But you know what? That makes it even more exciting when this incredible comeback happens for Aquilix. It's all against them in terms of what people think, but it's what happens on the field that really counts. And I'm going to start off with an interesting ban. I mean, who do you ban against Makers given their strange versatility of operators?
Well, the versatility is something that I think you need to lean into. Thank you, Matt, for the good luck to casters and observer. Maverick coming off as the first ban, nothing too crazy about that. I mean, when you're up against people that
It could be open.
no, Thatcher's second. Makers will ban Thatcher. they're entertaining. They're interesting. They're not that entertaining or interesting. Surely.
Oh damn.
No, I'm not. I'm going to cast his curse. I'm reverse psychologying.
Okay. Yeah. I dare you. Be boring.
Go on, do it. Yes,
Hey,
it works.
It worked.
See, if I encourage a situation to make me look like an idiot, it will happen.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. Good job.
My brain doesn't work quickly enough. I'm not as good at being wrong as you are.
Oh.
And there we go. It's straight back to boring. It's Kaid. It worked perfectly. Obviously, Monty isn't the most out there ban because he is my contenders ban in general on Clubhouse or Oregon. And then the Maestro, it's slightly more out there in general. Like, these bans are slightly less interesting than usual. They're on like the second rung, I think, of your
Yeah, on a
bans
scale
here.
of 1 to out there, he's like a 7. No, not 7. No, he's like a 4. 3 or a 4. He's a little bit out there, but not very. Look at all
That's
that.
pretty fair. Here we go over to CCTV and Cash for the first defense from Aquilix. Of course, starting off on the defense here, it's debatable as to whether this is attacker-sided or not yet. I think we're starting to see that come true. They'll want at least 3 rounds for themselves on the board, getting 1 right off the bat. Usually the first round, even a losing team, a team who goes on to lose, can even just nab themselves 1. Here nice and early. It will certainly help. What is being...
Noah's on one in the old chat, and it's not something I understand, which isn't really. It doesn't
Is
say
that
a lot.
some more Dutch?
Maybe. What draws my attention, however, is the full spread of SAS operators. There were so many gas masks on that operator screen. We've got Killiator and Catsola on the Thatcher and Sledge, double Heartbreach and the Ash to make a really classic lineup, and then they've gone for full Pathfinders and then been like, oh, new Heartbreach, oh, new Heartbreach. And on the defense, Smoke and Mute both coming out, both with the shotguns in hand, both there to get those denial and get the wall closed. The Bandit to trick, perhaps.
This is a good advert for the first year only ops league, special tournament of no modern ops. But we'll see what they can do. Matt's going for an aggressive peek to start off with, along with Sky Ivan also going for a 1 as well. They both seem to be spotted out, and they are yet to net anything from it. Oh, they haven't, not quite spotting Matt's there, and he does get some damage onto Catsola, but it's very, very minimal. Maybe at least they'll be scaring their opposition. Makers, though, they've shown in the past they can be very, very ruthless when it comes to executions. They don't seem scared easily.
No, now I'm glad to see that we got a bit of that presence downstairs in lounge, just to slow down the attackers. We've still got Skyvian downstairs as well, because we see so often. Whoa, that was quick. Was that potentially a nade from Catsola on the opposite side to get rid of those bandit batteries? But that in very quick order, the main breach is opened.
Wow.
I didn't even catch how they dealt with that.
All the potential denial around, just shoved out the way very, very quickly, and Rastin now able to hold a lot of angles across into the site. I imagine he'll be sitting there for quite a lot of the remaining round, of which there's a good time efficiency from Makers. They've got a lot of time to make sure they can push in from other areas, maybe get those picks on the board, as it'll be so much easier to execute if one or two of these players are dead. They'll have their eyes on that smoke of Chalky.
Those that are lining up for a bit of a construction opposite pinch with the pressure from main wall. Skyvian going for a roam, the crouching Jaeger in his natural habitat creeping up. Hopefully they got a drone there to watch that flank. If not, this could be a pain. Suspended. Melusi eats half their health's worth of damage. Defending inside the site, it's almost completely pinched on the red stairs side aside from that roaming Jaeger. Ooh, there is a drone there, but there's no one watching it. Again, proven completely wrong. Karyudo making sure I remain completely incorrect and shuts the flank down.
Just stop talking in general, really, didn't you, Rana?
No, the round. If I just stop talking, will the rounds just happen?
Yes. Well, it seems so, because in that meantime, a trade has happened across in terms of man count, leaving still the advantage in the hands of the attackers, and they capitalize upon it! A double coming out, so many players getting involved in the kills, leaving only Suspended in the garage. He gets one, and the refrag doesn't happen! He takes out another! 2 men remaining. He has very little health. He's going to have to hit these heads very, very quickly. Of course, the 2 remaining players spreading out. Katsola getting a nice angle, but it's Karyudo to get the final kill, the confirmation onto Suspended. A great effort from him. And did Suspended finish his game for Volcano and then come and do this straight afterwards? Because I've casted him already today.
Oh yeah, Suspended.
It is Suspended from Volcano. I did see him earlier on, and I was thinking, that's not the same guy, is it? It is, apparently. Hi, Suspended, how you doing? Well, he lost that game earlier against Hyperion 5, and here he is against Makers, having lost the first round.
It is bizarre seeing various players playing across multiple teams, but not the best start. I think some good presence. I liked the fact that they were so present in Lounge below, that they had that early presence over in Bar, but the fact that they very quickly got pressured into the site and kind of shut in there. There was no rotation really allowed, no flexibility. It was like, no, you have the site and nothing else. And they gave so much time for Makers to just get around the site, open up the angles they want, and just apply a slow and careful pressure to those angles. And there's just nowhere for Aqualix to run.
Aqualix are opting for a slightly different lineup. They're changing that mute away to the Valkyrie. That slight bit more intel might help them maybe delay. They seemed that they wanted to do a sort of delay game. They did some aggressive peaks and then backed off relatively quickly. Very, very little pressure on the west hand side, as you like to call it, Barnell, over by Construction and Master. Maybe, I'm thinking the Valkyrie might indicate a slight bit more presence potentially on that side. Suspended getting aggressive, but he's punished. A lovely pre-fire coming out from Killiator to shut him down. No comeback for you. Suspended already off the board, and that's a good advantage for those defenders. Attackers, sorry.
I realized something I missed in the last round. We got kind of thrown off by how quickly the wall was opened. There's a Thatcher. No crazy gameplay needs to come out. No underneath breach charges or Maverick tricks need to come out.
Last time
there was,
completely overlooked. I just assumed he was banned.
We began the round by saying,
I'm so used to it.
We began the round saying all SAS operators are present, and they're Killiator and the Ace getting those EMPs on the wall, and Mats, he can't afford to be tricking, but the pressure on the windows is gone, and NitroCell from Mats shuts him down. Rastin gets the trade onto the Bandit though, so no tricking can happen. That still leaves one NitroCell in the hands of Slifer, but that's the only one. 1:50 left on the clock, and the attackers again with the man advantage. Skyvian's not going for any crazy roams this time. He's keeping his eye on Construction, but yet again we have the defenders locked into the site. They have the site, they have one player in garage, and that's it. This could fall apart so quickly.
Well, they've still got a good amount of utility and some strong guns to hold off these players, but as you say, there is quite a lot of time for the attackers to do what they want. They could well pinch the player within Garage, that'd probably be a smart move. Currently putting more pressure onto Chalky, who still has all canisters remaining. There are so many angles for Makers to make this happen, and they're going to make another one. Those ex-Kairos from Wes. Going to open up construction. The Ash being shut down. Chalky goes aggressive. It's a good idea, but he's taken out from behind by the Thatcher, who is refragged very well by the Jaeger, who is refragged himself, leaving only the Jaeger remaining of Slifer. That's a really cool name, but he's got to put off a pretty cool job in this, whoa, 1 versus 2 situation. 45 seconds left, and he cannot make it happen. Rastin finishes the job. Another fantastic execute from Makers.
It always gives me a bit of confidence in a team, even if you lose a round, the ability during the middle chaotic part of the execute to just have that complete back and forth of you lose one player, the trade is there, then you get shut down, and then another trade is there, and it finds you quickly descending from that 5 versus 5, 5 versus 4. You avalanche down into a 1v1, 1v2. Makers coming out on top, just a little bit quicker on the mark, but good effort there from Aquilix to be there to catch those trades so, I don't know, quickly, responsively. So, finger on the pulse, not letting go of it. How many more times can I say meaningless things? Just say, good job, you got the trades.
Great job, guys. Well done.
Pat on backs. Sigh. Down to church we go. Man, we've done so much speaking over the last few days. Our brains are just turning to jelly.
We're meant to do here, Barno.
But people just, I can only apologize. We try and escape, and we do nothing but stream. But we go down to Church and Arsenal, and while maybe I'm leaving too much of the actual talent here to eBack to try and cover up, we are being provided with an entertaining matchup between Makers here and Aquilix. Sticking with the same lineup, the double hard reach of the Hiban and Ace combined with Killiator on the Thatcher, they're making very quick work of these walls, and I feel like you could point to this and say, this is why you ban out the Thatcher. Ooh, Drone coming is going to spot out Skiving. He switched over to the Mozzie rather than the Jaeger. Thinks about...
My finger is very outstretched because I am pointing right to that Thatcher as a very strong point of why you don't really want him around, because he's a bit of a menace at the moment, and it's going to be so much easier to get those hatches open. I mean, there's very little, there's actually nothing in terms of denying that whatsoever, other than impact.
The thing that draws my attention is the fact that Kaid is banned almost every single time here on Clubhouse. Ooh, where did that shot come from? Oh, up from the master, the main stairs. Takes some chunky damage out of suspended, doing a little bit more damage from the windows. He's still very so many angles being opened up. It doesn't matter where he runs. They're from the windows. They're looking up at the stairs.
They have map coverage. They just seem to be everywhere, ready to react to anything. Sky Ivan is proving me wrong that everything we're saying is just an absolute disaster. He's going to run into quite a few people. Can he get the better of them? No, he can't. He's shut down. Killiator's going to claymore himself.
Makers are everywhere right now. I mean, like, I'm gonna cut us some slack because Makers are making this so hard to keep track of, both for us and for their opponents. They are absolutely everywhere. Both Skivian and Suspended roaming in areas where normally you could have a little bit of safety, but the fact that Makers, they're close enough to refrag, but far enough apart that they just have so much presence. Like Katsola, so aggression with a shotgun from Chalky puts him in the ground and puts him to an even man count. Really nice bit of aggression there, striking in a moment of lapsed concentration and coverage. Exactly what they need.
Chalky struggled last time with his aggression, got caught off on that CCTV defense, but this time it pays off. He manages to slunk back down those stairs with all his health still intact. 3 versus 3 with the Legion, of course, and the smoke. That utility is going to get stronger and stronger. Legion will get more goo mines and smoke his canisters will become even more powerful with each passing second. Some damage being traded, most of it being taken by Rastin. Kiliator getting the better of Slifer will be a great start for this attacking move. They're being gooed. Their positions surely known inside of blue. Smoke taking a lot of damage, and the plant is going down. I believe that's in Arsenal, and they have no idea. The Smoke gets the kill, but is downed in return, and it's only Matt standing.
He's got half health, and he can probably try and go for a revive. The attackers don't have a great line of sight into Church, but they don't need it. It is all about covering it. Oh,
exposed.
The shot through the table there just to finish that off. I mean, utterly picked apart. The roam presence shut down completely by that really oppressive wide map presence. And just a really nice take of blue. And often we see attackers debating, what do you take blue? Do you take down main stairs? That's why you take blue. The fact that you can fight so quickly into both sites, and when you can hit shots like that, I mean, Kiliator, so many beautiful shots. Like, he was that contested fight against Slifer, just that quick peek and free fire slammed the Legion's head off without a moment to react. If you can take fights like that, getting those positions can be so powerful, and that's why, and that's how you can use it. And that leads them to a 3-0 lead after the first 3 rounds.
It's a fantastic start from the Makers. Aqualix really, really on the back foot now. They'll be thinking, what can we do? Well, we can switch around in a couple of operators. Matt's bringing out the Vigil. Should be a key indicator of potentially sticking with that early aggression that they've had, but committing to it more. I think they've fallen off a bit too much. They've played it safe, and then it's not worked out for them even when they've decided to try and sit. They've just got to commit to something, some plan such as that, and really just try and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I think the roam is a good idea. I mean, we've seen how Makers will take advantage of the fact that if you don't have a wide map presence, Makers will be like, cool, it's all ours, and we will use 3 minutes to just pick apart the site from the outside. So the roam presence I agree with, and it's what we're seeing here, a really nice actually setup of rotations to make roaming across the top floor that little bit quicker. We'll see how it goes for them. And they're defending Church, but the attackers, they're aware of this roam presence and they want to establish some control. So they're breaching open a hardened CCTV hold. Drones coming through will be not able to spot out Mats exactly, playing the Vigil and Garage. We'll see how quickly they can deal with this. It's an extensive roam from the defenders, and it starts well. Suspended, getting a nice pick onto Rastin. That's half of the hard reach dealt with, and a bit of that oppressive presence of Makers shut down. The man advantage, is this the first time it's been in the hands of Aqualix?
I might well be. I don't quite recall, but they'll certainly be happy with themselves. But there we go. It's cut away straight. Oh, guys, please stop being so mean to us today.
Give us a moment to get a handle on things.
Terrible. I mean, we try and say something and it's just wrong. Deary me.
We still got this player in construction. No. Carioto, we skip away just the wrong moment there. Skipping and gets shut down with such a narrow angle as the construction presence is deleted. And now
we've still got a player in construction. Bang. This is absurd.
But we can see that
it's so cruel.
We're attacking the basement, and 3 of the attackers, including Katsola, outside on the sledge. If the fight into construction went on, Katsola would be right there to pressure on the master windows to cut off that rotation, that retreat. Chalky taking an aggressive position, does some damage to Carrido, but locks himself in kitchen. If they can establish his crossfires, he is stuck there for good. Wait, no, a soft hatch in kitchen? Chalky might actually have an escape here if we just go down 1 layer. I think there might be an escape for him, but we're attacking again. This is Church. Have they confused their attackers? Doesn't matter if Carioto can get the kill. He opens up that hatch and shuts down Suspended.
Chalky. He took his time, but he finally got the kill onto the Hibana. His position is well known. He is very much indeed trapped in there if he decides to not go down the hatch. He is the last man, that must be said, but he's guarding the diffuser close with a shotgun, so it's certainly doable. He takes a lot of damage from the peeking Ash. Cariudo winning out that fight with expertise. That is a tough position to beat the Mute on there, but just simple, cool-headed play from the Ash. Nice and quick, effective. sees another round for Makers. Now, I think that plan from Aqualix was relatively smart in that they know Makers love to clear roams incredibly effectively. We've seen that happen. They spread across the whole map and they make sure they have entire map control. They don't like leaving areas very much. They want to make sure everything is clear. So having a strong presence upstairs will force them to go in, take all those players out, do all that, waste some time. And if enough time is wasted and not enough men lost, that can work out for them. Unfortunately, they all died again, and it just wasn't enough.
We saw a little bit. I mean, we saw a little bit of how that could have worked in Aqualix's favor. The fact that it did take Makers, they got rid of that roam presence beautifully. Almost every single one of those kills was either a crossfire or it was a kill with an immediate refrag available. Just really, really well orchestrated attacking. However, the fact that Chalky was able to get down into kitchen with the diffuser, it relied on the diffuser being dropped and that being that particular kill. But again, that was a church attack. I don't think at Makers, if they were aware of the fact that it was a church attack, then I think it was a misplay. Even though they walked away with the win in the end, it offered, by taking that kind of roam clear against so many defenders, you were offering so many potential fights that you could lose. If there are that many people roaming, hit the site and hit it hard. They didn't have the kitchen hatch reinforced.
I don't think that's a misplay. I think that's the plan they decided to do. They decided to go and tackle those roamers anyway.
Misplay might be
they clearly showed that they can do it.
Misplay might be the wrong way of saying. I think going for a straight site hit when they have that bigger roam might be an easier general strategy, but they clearly have the capability to take those fights quickly, competently, and with coverage, and it worked out for them in the end. Karyudo, go ahead.
It's rare to see no reinforcement of the CEC wall or cache any of that area. It's all... I mean, the red wall is soft, but the rest of it's all soft. That's very interesting as to what kind of hold we're seeing from Aqualix. They're sitting quite tight on this gym defense. It looks like they're trying to defend it from inside, which is relatively tricky, especially when all these breaches are open. We can see Jacuzzi wall has already blown wide open, and is the wall soft opposite the mute? It is. He's taken out through it, and Katsola and Rastin start things off for the attackers who are already inside gym. All the roaming players caught off in the middle of nowhere.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
And this is exactly why those kinds of roams can be so horrible that they take. And Jim is so hard for it, and we're seeing Jim. They just cut it. They cut the site to pieces. They get those windows. They take this fight so successfully, and there's just nowhere for Aqualix to move.
Well, Barnett, I think your wish came true in that they went direct for the site in number. But the rest of I'm confused as to Aqualix's setup. Obviously, they had some sort of strategy for keeping a lot of things soft and trying to hold that area with 3 men, but not reinforcing it. I guess they assumed that they didn't need to because they wanted to burn up soft breach. I'm not exactly sure what the plan was there, but regardless, it didn't work. 5-0 on the attack. I was saying at the start of this game, they want to take 3 rounds on the defense, and currently they have 0. They may be looking at 0 with 6 on the opposite side. They're 1 away from match point here on the first map, Makers.
So we've seen them go, and look, they do a site, they lose it, they try it again, they lose it, and then they go somewhere else. We've seen a CCTV twice, church twice, gym. We're only going to see that once as we go back to CCTV, and I can kind of see why. They defend the site, they wanted to try and make adjustments, they wanted to try and learn from what went wrong, what did Makers bring that they couldn't hold up against, what can they do to fix that and win the next round. But Makers are just pedal to the metal every single round. It's barely giving us time to see what's happening, and I can absolutely empathize with Aqualix. The round is half done in the first 30 seconds. Makers are just breakneck pace, storming this, not just the map or the objectives, they're storming the game itself. They're not giving Aqualix time to breathe or think. It's just, rounds have begun, Makers are pressuring you, and they're picking things apart. They're giving you, they're establishing angles or presence that is shutting down your roamers or cutting up your returns to site, and it's a really impressive level of gameplay, and it's one of the things I think we're gonna see this in playoffs. Like, this belongs in the majors. There are plenty of teams in the major divisions here at ECS that I don't think could stand up to this.
Well, we've all got to see that later on. Obviously, Maker's got to keep it up for the rest of the season to get those strong positions. Who knows, they could completely fall apart. That's what Aquilix will be hoping for at this point, because I don't think much else is going to see them to that point. Even if they step up themselves brilliantly, it's still a long, long way to go. And ground already being taken by those attackers. They're moving in from the west-hand side, across from Jim. Of course, a little bit of resistance over in construction. Not too heavy from Aquilix. They're clearly not too confident on their ability to delay. I think Makers have been so ruthlessly efficient. If there is resistance, then they push it back. If there isn't resistance, they take it. And it comes out to pretty much the same time. I think Aquilix, they want to hold on to their men. And the man who I was saying was contesting construction has already backed off, and the ground's been taken.
Minute and 30 left, and it's time to start dealing with things. Pressure already being established, and they can start getting this wall open. We've already got the... See, one of the things I'm curious is about why they've been bringing the bandit every single time. Good, okay, not yourself, good gun, 3 speed. For some people, that's enough to warrant bringing the op, but we have Thatcher on the board. And to be honest, even without him, there are so many ways to quickly open walls, whether it's a Maverick, whether it's an Ash going beneath, that to be honest, we've seen some teams choose to just forego attempting to stop a breach completely because it'll get opened anyway. But we're seeing Max bring the bandit, put those charges down, but we're seeing Rastin is opening this wall every single time.
50 seconds remain. 5 versus 5 still. As I say that, Chalky is downed. I've almost had enough of this. And it's a 4 versus 3 all of a sudden. 2 kills for the attackers and 1 for the defenders. A lovely C4. But that's not really going to do very much because the C4 wielding player is down thanks to Rastin. Sky, Ivan and Mats remain. The plant is going down from Wes. Mats falls. It's only the Jaeger left. He's stuck on red, completely isolated against 4. And there's the job finished off by Rastin.
Tell me that wasn't a... Oh no. The fact that they're not dealing with Rastin, whether it's denying the breach, whether it's any kind of run out or peak or something to deal with. I mean, he's gone there every single round, and we criticize repetitiveness. But when he's afforded that, you cannot fault him for taking it. Like
6-0. I mean, every defensive attempt gone for Aquilix. They didn't bring out the clash, and they've lost every single round.
You know what? That's true.
That's pretty much it, really.
Okay, solution for you. You put a clash in front of the wall and a player behind them, and then they quick peek from behind the shield using it like a mirror window, and they just bash the ace off the hold. Easy, round 1.
Good.
You know? Like faultless. You can't get around that.
You can't. It is impossible.
Now, Makers step onto defense. They need 1 round to call this map theirs to take 3 points and climb up the leaderboard even more.
Attackers need to locate and defuse the
Before you go on into that, Barna, I want to talk about the map picks. Because not just
Please
because
do.
I dislike Clubhouse Oregon, because I really enjoy Clubhouse and Oregon at various points. Makers have shown us exactly why this map can be very exciting when it's played well, which it certainly has been.
The poison in your voice when you said that.
So,
I like
Barnell. Aquilix, why do you take Makers to this map? Why? I'm interested to know, because clearly there's not enough being offered right now. Of course they could bring it back, and I can eat my words, because both teams have been proving us wrong every time we say anything. So I'm partially saying this so that you do it. But at the same time, how sure are you that Makers are this strong on Theme Park? Even Cafe, Villa, anywhere? There are a bunch of maps in this map pool, right? There's 7, aren't there?
There are 7, but like it's more than just choosing a map that you think, because Makers chose Clubhouse.
It's an element.
Makers chose Clubhouse, but Aquilix left it in the options.
Yes.
But
yes.
I appreciate leaving the map pool to your strengths. However, the fact that we see teams so frequently just playing Clubhouse in Oregon, you can't afford to just be a Club or Oregon team and have those two as your strongest and everything else not work, because you come against this. Makers, who are obviously so practiced at this, Katsola, aggression up the hatch, shuts down the Ash so early. I think this was less a choice of we'll leave it in because we think we're better than Makers on Clubhouse. I think they left it in because they thought it's one of our two better maps. And it's just not quite enough to take Makers out on it. And I like Clubhouse as well, in the way that I like carbonara. If I had carbonara every meal for 3 weeks, for every day, I wouldn't want carbonara anymore.
That's pretty fair. Oh, the ace being taken out as well. That's another advantage for the defenders. But Mats strikes back, keeping his team in it for just a moment longer, giving them that beacon of hope. There's still 2 C4s in the hands of the defenders, and I imagine 2 yokai still in play. So, well, there's one in pocket at the moment, I believe, for the Echo. So he's keeping that nice and safe. He's not using that as a sneaky cam. I imagine Killiator has enough intel for those defenders. I mean, I'd argue there's oh dear. I'd argue there's 3. Are you Aquilix, Barnell? Oh, okay, that joke we completely missed then. Okay, and Mats again, he pulls it back. He pulls it even, Barnow. 45 seconds left.
We've seen 3v3s before. Chalky doing a similar breach to try and open up these cross angles from construction. This is their last chance, but 36 seconds doing this. We saw Makers doing this with a minute and a half left. Katsuo taking an aggressive close angle. The ping has come out. He begins shooting his position given away. He chips a bit of damage off, but not quite the kills. This is going to really close. It's going to be a rush entry. But the health advantage is so heavily in Makers and in the side of Makers. No nitro cells, no impacts. It's going to be down to guns because in the last 14 seconds, Rastin takes a chunk and backs off. But Katsola, the hip fire to aim, shuts down the Zofia instantaneously. Refire, but Mats takes it back, and it's still down to Killiator. He's been an absolute maniac, going 10-2 so far, but Mats comes up and shuts down. Makers take Mac 1 7-0. I hope that Aquilix can bring. I hope Aquilix can bring something else to Oregon on their map pick, because that was an absolute annihilation. There wasn't a single round of that didn't feel like Makers were in complete control the whole way through. Good effort. Yeah, that's just about all I can say.
I mean, Matt's put up a strong fight at the end. They're getting a triple from a disadvantaged man position, bringing it back, and then in the 1 versus 1, effectively with the player down, just losing out again. That might have been the point for a comeback, but I think they'd rather save themselves the trouble and just take a little break now between maps.
Absolutely valid. I mean, take a moment, take a breath, wind down a little bit, get your head back in a neutral space to take on the next map. There were some really good fights there from Aquilix. While we say, that was an annihilation, it wasn't a domination. I think Aquilix put up a good fight. Makers just gave them no room to move. In the few spaces where it came down to a brawl, Aquilix was so quick on a lot of the trades. And it was really a flawless round. That's what I'll point out. While it was a 7-0 in terms of the score, it was never flawless in terms of kills in a round.
I'm thinking on the opposite side, because usually I think this is the opposite way round to when we usually argue whether a team dominates or not. And you argue about, they didn't get enough kills, but they played the game well enough to contest it and keep it interesting. I think it's kind of the opposite here, in that they might have got some of the kills back. It wasn't too many. I think they were just completely outplayed in terms of strategy, and that's why I'll probably say that was an annihilation.
I see. I wouldn't disagree with that. I think they were outplayed. I think I just wanted to throw a little praise towards their diligence in getting some trades. They were clawing their way back, but it was fingernails against a mountain trying to clamber their way back up what Makers was throwing down.
Ooh, we don't like fingernails, do we, Barnell?
I personally absolutely hate fingernails, so I'm going to go and cut mine off. While I do so, you guys take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes for Map 2. We're heading to Oregon, and I hope Aquilix can bring something new, but if not, Makers are looking in fantastic form. So, go get a drink. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
like you don't care that we're leaving something bare. And in the water I see cold reflections of what's really there. I'm not waiting on love, our time has come. We're fighting empires and I want to feel the fire again. It's not easy to love when the world is numb. We're fighting empires and we're gonna feel the fire again. Feeling like I can't be there, and all the valleys that we're marching on through, not even aware that it's the darkness that's so hard to see. And I'm asking you to fight, just but the difficulty breaking free from what's really there. I'm not waiting on love, our time has come. We're fighting empires and I want to feel the fire again. It's not easy to love when the world is numb. We're fighting empires and we're gonna feel the fire again.
Welcome back here to ECS. We had an absolute monster of a game last map. Clubhouse got 7-0 by Makers on absolutely fantastic form.
We're both muted as well.
Shiro on damage control.
Yeah. Thank you, Shiro, for saving our lives.
Shiro on damage control. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully he can apply that not just to us, but also to Aqualix. Wait, are we unmuted now? No?
I have a voice. I don't know if you do.
I mean, I don't know if people... Shiro, are we muted? I'm just gonna
he's
guess.
given up now. He's busy. He's too busy playing chess.
Okay. You were like,
Okay,
you're both still muted, and then never said, okay, now you're live, and so what the fuck am I dealing with? Right. Welcome back.
Hi.
It's me, Barnell. It's this guy. Points though. I put in the right direction. Nice. We just saw an absolute... I'm trying to throw credit at Aqualix because there are moments where they did play well together to fend off, to try to fend off really brutal executes. But Makers right now are just
very
just
good.
in the
And there
wrong
it is.
division.
There's the chess game. I think it was Noah versus Mats during
Noah
the break.
won. Nice.
Noah won. Well done, Noah. Congratulations. Again, Matt's not being able to win.
This is such a bad day for Aqualix. I mean, Matt's losing
It's a
in
bad
chess.
day for casting.
No, we're killing
This
it. No.
is a travesty.
No, we've nailed. This is a highlight reel game.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
No, like Matt's, sucking at chess, but also losing that first round in that first map at Clubhouse 7-0 and suspended. As you pointed out, he played you cast him playing Volcano earlier, and they've been on fantastic form over in Reflex, but they got killed all by Hyperion 5, a team that we were expecting not to really stand up to Volcano. But suspended lost that, and now this. I really hope in this break, while we ate cookies and drank tea, and
this is the same Hyperion 5 from ECS as well.
Oh, is it the same? Okay.
Just for content, yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch this show. I really hope in that break they manage to reset themselves, make sure they're not getting psyched out, just relax, and hopefully play their game. Because I don't think we saw Aqualix play the game yet.
Not really. They've not been given a chance to.
No, for sure.
In their defense, they haven't really been given a chance to.
It was on their defense.
It was on their
play anything.
Well, they've started on the defensive in multiple ways. Let's see how offensive they can go now that we're on Oregon, because obviously this is their pick. They've decided to come here. They want to come to Oregon. So maybe they've got some secret strategies hidden. And if they get off to a strong start, they could completely catch Makers off, because we've not really seen them in too many losing positions so far in qualifiers or in the league so far. So maybe they're a terrible team once they're down a peg or two.
Perhaps, and there is a certain kind of resilience and fire that when a fire is lit under you and you begin to really switch on to fight back, that can be really powerful. If they can get a few rounds at the start with a decent kind of confidence, then I've got hope. I've got some faith that they can turn that into a victory. They just need to get that first, and we're gonna need to see a shift in gear right from round one if that's gonna happen.
Well, as you pointed out, maybe the clash this time is the way to do it. It's on Oregon. It's where we see her the most statistically. Not too many spoilers of my, what did I call them? Clat stashes or something like that. Before.
Something.
I don't want to spill it because I'm saying
turgidly on brand
specific stuff. But yes, she comes out almost all the time on the basement defense of Oregon, and maybe that's where the stand will be made. The heroic play. To bring things back, because there's no better humiliation than, like, especially when you get an ace just by zapping people with the CCE shield.
If we see that, just give Aqualix the season.
I will.
Implode,
I would do a lot
probably.
of things if that I'd 100% like shave my head. I'll shave Barnow's head as well. And I'll give him a big sloppy kiss.
More likely than that. I
don't know. That's pretty likely, that last one.
You know, we'll see. My worry here is Clubhouse and Oregon are two of the most played maps we have. Makers have shown themselves to be absolutely tyrannical on both of these maps.
Mm-hmm.
This to me screams, you need to spend some time as a team. I mean, in a league where people play Clubhouse and Oregon this much, you need to spend some time, one, being up to standard on those. You need to be a team that can go to somewhere like Coastline or Theme Park and bring something else to make your enemy uncomfortable and play the game you want to play. In this, they've chosen to come to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
You know Makers are as confident here as they are on Clubhouse. No doubt. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that when Makers look at the maps and think, Club, Oregon, we'll pick one, they'll probably pick the other. I don't think any advantage in the maps is going to come to Aqualix because of this pick. And I hope that there is something that they have hidden up their sleeve. Because otherwise, I think it maybe could have been a bit of a safe comfort pick, or a we don't know what else to do kind of pick. And if that's the case, I'm very worried.
Yes, there've been a lot of switches around in rosters in general, and of course we've seen that as well from Aqualix, the rebrand, one or two new players in as well. Of course, it can take a while for some players to gel, and also if they don't know all the same strategies and they don't have that much identity, it can be very difficult to then start moving into action on new maps and things, and they might want to go for the things that everyone knows that's quite commonly understood within the team. So that could be an element of it. I was praising... God, why do I keep praising Panda this season? I was praising Panda from Jaegers for how well he adjusted to joining into that team, because he looked like... it looked like he'd been playing there for years, basically, in the way that he fit within the team. And he had a different role from what I saw, from what he had at Lexaro at the time. So that's the sort of thing that we're not quite seeing from one or two of these players. Like Mats has had his moments, some individual plays, but a team unit, we're not quite seeing that yet from Aqualix.
Not quite yet. Though, like we said, we haven't really had a chance to see them play all that much. And as they're on attack now, I feel like a 7-1. In whose favour? Because that ain't guaranteed right now. Makers starts things off. We ran up the Thatcher to begin with. We saw him used to great effect last time, but Aqualix will not have that option as they are on attack first. Now, this might be a good thing. They are now in the driver's seat. They have the impetus to act. This might allow them to start playing their game from the off. If this starts with a spawn peak, I mean, I'm gonna be upset.
I imagine it will. I would be very surprised if that's not
I've said it now,
the
so
case.
it'll have to happen.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm noting right now as we go through relatively dull bans, I'll wait and see if this next one is something to talk about before. Not really. It's Wham I. So that's not really a huge surprise. Of course, it's just mostly forcing the Jaeger. I think Makers they're missing Apex from the roster.
Yeah.
That fills me with terror. The rest of this season in general, because he was absolutely on fire last time out, and they don't look any different without him at all, which is a huge credit to Makers and their very full squad, their strength in depth that they have.
For sure. I mean, the fact that I think really any of this lineup can go massive. I mean, Rastin and Kiliator standing out in the last game. It was only really Wes that wasn't really tearing up the scoreboard, but there were several moments where he was there for an important refrag or an important kill to clear up an area before an execute. That I'm not worried about any member of Makers really falling behind. On the flip side, we saw some good moments out of Suspended, out of Mats. Chalky had a couple good moments, but for the most part, we didn't really see anything pop in from the side of Aquilix. And I think it points a little bit to what you were talking about cohesion with new teams and when you put new people together. Maybe going out to Laundry will have a little bit of success for them. They probably are all very familiar with the setups that they want to bring here. We've got the Jaeger, we've got the Goyo, got the Malusi. This is screaming last season's meta. So this is something that they have all practiced many times over.
Ugh.
Same.
All right. Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gents, because today that first map was a little bit crazy. A little bit nuts. And I imagine we'll be seeing something similar here, hopefully with a bit more of a fight back from Aquilix. And they've brought some good operators to do that. They've got the double hard breach, the double soft boys, and they've got the Iana on top. Because sometimes we see Iana coming like maybe instead of the Ashe. Has been brought alongside this time. No Maverick though, no Twitch, anything of the like. Of course, being Maverick being banned out, and no Thatcher as well. So it's going to be tough potentially to get some of these things open that they might want to get, depending on where Mute puts his jammers, of course.
Cat Solar just floating off a north tower. He's hungry. He's got the MP5 in hand. Nice and buffed up with that vertical grip to make those long-range engagements a little bit easier. But then they're taking an early judge of damage as he's pressuring down white stairs. Rastin escapes with his life, and the Jaeger is right there to support as they begin to pressure onto Freezer stairs. 3 players suspended. I'm so bad. Worrying about his shooting there. It's going to be a little bit... It's done a lot of damage to the Mute, though. The player with that C4 in hand, while the hatch above Laundry is opened up, looking like a pretty classic no. Steps in, Cat Solar, no! Massive! He sees the drone fly out and he steps in and gets 2 massive headshots. That's a bunch of hard breach and soft destruction off the board. And Aquilix's attack is now not quite crippled, I'll say hobbled.
Yes, they are in a much, much less favourable situation. Rastin having taken a bit of damage, but that's really, really not a trade for the damage done to the Aquilix lineup. They've got to re-evaluate, come up with a new plan, and try and execute that as best they can. They don't have too many options as well. They've got so much utility to burn out as well.
It's the diffuser as well.
Oh no, I didn't even notice that. The diffuser is up in meeting. And it's going to be tough to retrieve, even though the Cat Solar's position is known. Slifer tries to move things back in Aquilix's favour. With a double, he gets Cat Solar. He suddenly brought things back around, and with 50 seconds left, it's looking suddenly a lot better for the attackers here. Might be able to pull themselves around. A long way to go.
It's getting there. We've got Slifer, but he's used up both his breaching titles, getting some hatches. A shot from Tyro shuts him down. Suspended, falling off the board, and it's now only a frag grenade that gets thrown down to an electrical to get rid of that Goyo shield left. That's the utility for the round gone. They might have some flashbangs, not sure where he'll use them. Create a chunk of damage and Sliver gets down. Back and forth trade. Wes in a 1 versus 1. The health advantage massively in his hands, and Yana just doesn't know the position. Sweeps around, peeking to the right, and he's just tucked in on the left.
Again, it's Matt putting up a great fight at the death, but too little too late, really. Becoming a bit of a catchphrase of mine. I need to stop saying that, but he wasn't aware of the final position of Wes, and despite a decent fight, coming back from a 2-man disadvantage twice in a row, just not managing to finish the job either time, always on the back foot throughout the round. It'll at least give them a tiny bit of confidence, because that was quite well competed throughout.
It wasn't, and good job for Slither for clearing out that hold in meeting. That could have been a real problem with the diffuser up there. The time it took, however, was a problem. It got down to a 3 versus 3. He managed to bring the man count back to even, but they were left with about 40 seconds left to then completely reconsider their actual execute. And with that little time and that man count, they have to stick together. Against another 3 who have the time to adjust their defense to point in the direction they know the attackers are coming from, that was really rough, and that's why it descended into that bloody battle on the north stairs. Good attempt, but the damage was done far, far earlier than that.
Oh, we move up to the top floor. No, oh, sorry, not no reattempt. I got that the wrong way around. There is no option for a reattempt of the bottom floor as they won it, so they are moving upstairs. There's a lot of utility here for Makers in this lineup. A lot of things to clear out of the way that can prove very useful. The one thing I'm admiring about their lineup is their focus on intel. Whether it's the Valkyrie, whether they've got slightly more manual intel or late game intel of those Banshees giving away attacker positions just at the key moments. You can argue as to their effectiveness in a fight, but they're certainly useful for slowing down attackers and making sure you know their position. Speaking of knowing positions, Cat Solar, clearly someone knows that he's about. Killiator with the Spaz 12 shotgun, sitting very close, potentially in the corridor. He's taken a lot of damage, and he's given some back to Sky Ivan, but he is the man to fall, most importantly. So the advantage now for the attackers, and we don't get to say that very often.
We don't, and it's good to see that that's going to help. I think start off, Cat Solar gets the refrag though, playing down there with the MP5, shutting down Chalky, the hard reach off the board. Ash eating a chunk of damage. The fact that they haven't cleared out Cat Solar is nuts. They've been pressuring from that west side for so long, and Carioto is just here. Just to keep that pressure from White Stairs so attackers cannot comfortably move along on that bottom floor.
Not 100% sure why Chalky's still outside the van midway through this round on hard reach. But oh well, he's been taken out anyway, so he's not going to be able to do what he was planning to do, and neither's half the rest of his team. Another 2 players falling. It's the S-Men, 2 of the 3, the 3-pronged S trio. See, that time it works.
the secrets...
They're all dead though.
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of sibilance, but it's not quite enough to win rounds. Matt's again left all by himself. He's going 2-1. His KD won't fall too far behind. He might manage to get 1, but for him to claim the round, it's a 1 versus 4, and he showed us some good things. This, I think, might be a little bit too much. He starts things off, he shuts down Carioto on the Jaeger, but takes another chunk of damage, down to about 20 or so health, and these are... Look at the defenders. Cat Solar below on the Malusi, an absolute menace and not cleared out, just patiently waiting to strike to pressure, and the time is still ticking on down.
Is Matt's being careful or just wasting time? Sitting at the bottom of the stairs here. He's just waiting for... I think he knows that sneaky Malusi is around somewhere, but she's backed all the way off. Such great awareness and sense of time and how the round is unfolding. I think that helps with the intel game. I think that Valkyrie is proving very, very useful in a hidden way that we can't quite see. Matt's seeing the underneath of the Malusi, but I'm not going to get too excited as Wes shuts down Mats on White Stairs. It seemed an impossible task, and it certainly was. A decent fight, but it was never a fight that he was at. It didn't seem like he was trying to win. He was just trying to hold it off more than anything.
It's a really comfortable position to be in, obviously, in a 1 versus 4, but in a place like that, it needs to start with getting a couple kills. And he did. He did manage to cut down that Jaeger, but he spent the next 30 seconds watching his flank. That's a job for a drone. And lobby is a place you should have a drone somewhere near lobby to watch that flank, to watch those rotates, and you've got so many teammates to make those calls. 30 seconds watching your flank and letting 3 defenders just be like, cool. At some point, you'll have to push us, and we'll be here for the refrags, and you are not having a 5-second 1v3 unless we massively screw something up. Just needed a little bit more ground, a little more confidence to take that, knowing his flank would be called. Just not enough information there. The defense with a surplus and the attackers with a deficiency.
ADS deployed and ready to go. Deploying ADS. Attackers have discovered the location.
Kitchen and Dining Barn Owl is the next site we are moving on down to. Makers looking to do potentially a full rotation, which I'm not sure I've seen before on Oregon. As a defensive side, going through all 4 sites successfully in a row. Of course, you don't have to, so I guess you don't really. That's probably why we've not seen it, but we certainly could here at the moment. Aqualix, they're offering up more, clearly, but still falling short of the mark. I made potentially an IQ play or something to counter this strong intel. Obviously, it would help with some goo mines, the Banshee positions. There are so much utility that could be helpful.
I think they should sign us. Just you and me on controllers, but playing Nomad and Dockerby. Your air jabbers knock them down, so I can kill them without having to be a good shot. We get the cameras and use their utility against them. Easy, round 1.
Yeah. For Aqualix, so I'm sure I'm not happy watching this back. We are joking. We cannot do anywhere near as well as you.
There's a reason we're casting.
Yes, we suck, and you are very good, but you still got to prove it sometimes. And now is the moment to show up, as they've not won a single round so far on either map.
Setting up with a pretty external site hold, we've got only Killiator playing pretty much on the site in that rotate, and everyone else set up on that south side of the building in those corridors, be able to move nice and fluidly, but it's allowing these attackers to just set up in West Tower and begin breaching. You're going to begin clearing out this position. The flash makes at least worry, and Skyvians then take advantage of it, and Rastin eats the deck. And the deck doesn't taste good. We still have that Solar and Killiator.
I was like, were you trying to say hits the deck or eat a dick? Anyway, Katsola holding shower corridor, no longer holding shower corridor. He's taken out by a lovely grenade from Mats. Probably the rudest thing I've said on the stream
I'm
ever.
so ashamed of you.
So I know. I just figured
my
I'd
thing.
give some punch.
Killiator with a really nice little kind of falling angle off of that countertop, Carrido elsewhere, biting back a little bit, Skyvian falling off, but Slifer's there for the first time getting the plant down, but the smoke, no! A team kill from Matt somehow shuts down the planter. He pushed off by the smoke for sure, but Matt's keeping them in the advantage, making sure that Killiator and Wes are left by themselves, but Wes a beautiful shot above the debris, the broken wall.
Drop the diffuser.
Oh!
Oh no, ring around the rosy. Pre-fires come out, the Valkyrie's not quite there, the health disadvantage makes it a little bit too difficult in a 1 versus 1. 26 seconds, the diffuser is down, Mats sweeps the corridor, but the smokes eat the damage. He predicts, but he's not quick enough for the shot. Killiator plays him like a fiddle, sends him through the corridor with the smoke, and is there to meet him with the 9mm bullets out of his SMG-11.
Wowzers. That was
Wowzers
fantastic
indeed.
from Killiator. When you throw that smoke grenade as when I'm not playing Clash, I'm playing Smoke. And yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes, Barnell, I know I don't play Clash. Sometimes.
Yeah, because she's banned in 80% of big games we're in.
Yeah, it's because she's always banned. But when I then play Smoke, you throw that smoke canister and right in front, and there was time there where you think, okay, I'm all right. The charge through the smoke, being ready for that, adjusting, taking out Mats. That's not to be underestimated from Kiliator. So very nice play. And Mats, again, left in a horrible situation, and he gave it a great fight. He just doesn't have that punch, and I think that round was a perfect example of him and gelling within the team.
Scoreboard.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
2-3, 0-3, 2-3, 0-3.
It's not just the kills on the board, that does paint it as well, but I think he's being a great individual player at the moment.
Losing with a 2.2 rating. He's going massive. He's got 100% cost, matched actually by Wes. Wes falling down a little bit on the kills in Clubhouse, but standing up massively right now.
10 seconds to insertion.
So, a point. Mats, within the kind of blending into the team context, he's always being left in these 1 versus X situations. He's doing well as an individual, but struggling to really... I'm not seeing too much within the team, particularly helping out with necessarily the move as a team. Obviously, Aqualix as a whole are struggling with it. It's not just him, of course, but that team kill onto the planter certainly doesn't shine things strongly in his favor.
Loading new mag.
Doesn't know. It's going to be a bit of a shock to your momentum. I don't know. Sounds in M really just utterly destroyed my ability
obviously,
to speak there.
I say this with confidence that we have seen Mats be a fantastic player in the past for Jaegers. And of course, he's still doing pretty well for himself in this match, at least kill-wise. Just not quite getting those rounds on the board altogether. So 3-0 is the score for Makers, sitting at a 10-0 in total. Now is the time at the halfway mark on the attack to pull things back, but they start things off poorly. Rastin with the MP5K taking out Sky Ivan.
I mean, also the fact that we saw those outlines, 2 defenders both holding that, and he peeks across, and just 2 people with narrow angles open fire in his head. No way he wins that. Even with droning, even with a beautiful pre-fire and a headshot onto one of them. I mean, I kind of think that this is those situations you need to use utility. You need to find some other way of gaining an advantage. Because Makers right now are outplaying, outmoving, and I think mostly positioning and gun skill. They're always in the right place at the right time, within the right proximity of teammates, and that is becoming massive for them.
Oh, Chalky, no. You can see him setting up in a position he thinks is safe, having not cleared the top of North Tower. You always have to clear the top of North Tower. I've been saying this all season. So many Malusis on different teams have won in this position by people paying no attention. They're trying to make a pinch happen here, Aqualix. 3 men over by Bunk, 1 on North Stairs. The one on North Stairs has no idea there is someone right behind him. Catsola is waiting, I think, for the move to come in so that Chalky is the most distracted. He's on his drone right now as well. And here he comes, potentially.
No,
Are there 2 players there
Yeah,
now?
Matt is with him. Knife.
I don't think he has time because of the cross angle. He takes out both. Can he get the others? He gets almost 1, but he's shut down. A lot of damage dealt. Karyudo picks up the 1 remaining. And Rastin, sorry, there were 2 remaining, but now there are none remaining, certainly. That's the kind of maths that Makers will enjoy.
Catsola, were you roaming? That wasn't roaming, that was lurking. That was you guys, one, got killed from that place, and then didn't drone it out thoroughly.
Why? I'm perplexed.
I can't, at this point, I can't help but worry that Aqualix are starting to have that fatigue. I mean, the fact that suspended, played a full game earlier on and had to deal with the loss, and then came in and got 7-0'd on Clubhouse, and now on their map pick have lost 3 rounds in a row now, and now 4.
Especially on the Ashe. The Ashe is that player you want to have that gusto, that power to charge on in and get you a strong advantage. Currently, he's really struggling to do that on that front. The whole rest of the team, I think he was saying about trades and about the gunfights, they weren't being completely outgunned for a lot of the last map. I don't think that's that true anymore.
No, for sure. But I think it's valid to say that Makers are not Siege rests on several pillars, right? On strategy, on positioning, on gun skill. It's a tactical, like realism first-person shooter.
Seconds remaining.
There are plenty of words that come before first-person shooter. Makers right now are absolutely nailing. This is a masterclass in positioning, timing, and gun skill.
And defuse it.
In terms of utility, they're doing okay, but I'm not seeing anything in terms of utility that's really blowing my mind. You know, like Katsola is hiding in great positions. He's taking advantage of bad droning. They're getting great kills and great movement. This is where's Aqualix. You bring the Ying. You bring the Jackal. You bring the things that are going to give you an advantage against someone who is hiding and outplaying you. That's what Siege is so beautiful for. That's why we're not playing Call of Duty. And for now, they're sticking with the Ashe, Zofia, Hibana, Thermite, Yana. These are comfortable operators with pretty good standard utility, but very basic. It's all I open or I blow up. Aside from Matt, who I don't think I've seen pull a Gemini out once. And I think that
Yeah.
that's what I think is the actual disappointing part. Like, it's one thing to be outplayed, but that's the thing they can do about it that we're not seeing them bring.
Oh, here comes Cat Solar again. The creeping cat.
Is there a drone
up
on flank
behind.
watch?
I don't know. They're not bringing the Nomad. We talk about utility. There's so much that they could use. Oh, I'm so scared. They're completely distracted. Here he comes. There's the Ashe. Oh, she swings around just in time. Great check from Suspended to get the advantage in the hands of the attackers. That was very worrying. And Mats is watching his flank as well. Looks like they don't need the Nomad, but they have taken serious damage across the team, despite the man advantage they have. Now coming a bit closer, thanks to Karyuda getting aggressive towards Wolf.
There's that Gemini that we're talking about gets shut down by Karyuda. He's positioning me. No, and the pre-fly comes down. He shuts down one. He shuts down two. Karyuda! Triple kill on the round to even the man count. We've seen it.
How'd that Gemini work out for you, Mats?
Oh, God.
Sorry, that was a bit mean.
That was
It's a 2 versus 2 now. The scoreboard not being very nice to them either, to be fair. And there's a lovely shot from, well, both remaining players, actually. It's Rastin versus Suspended now. Suspended surprising us earlier with some very strong play, and he could finish it off here. He has the health advantage. Of course, he doesn't have the diffuser.
the trade.
A trade at the end! Oh! We were so close to the first win of the day for Aqualix!
That is heartbreaking.
Oh!
That is heartbreaking. To be that
And
close.
it doesn't work. For once, they kill all the players of Makers, and it doesn't count. Oh, that's a tremendous shame. And now they sit at 5-0 up. I'm thinking at this point, Oregon defense. Aqualix have 1 round to play Clash, and give it a go. At least they're mixing up the lineup somewhat. They have opted for the Ace instead of the Thermite. But I do like your earlier point. I think mixing up utility and bringing something out of the box, because of course this standard lineup, this isn't the most standard lineup, but it is within the standard.
It picks from the same 8-9 operators that we see almost always. Ashe and Zofia are always there. There is always like they're good ops. They are, and but my worry is that it sits into, like we pointed out earlier, last season's meta where you have to bring all of that to destroy utility.
Well, they can do a lot, and it's great to bring them because you're always capable of doing all that stuff. But when you're trying to do all that stuff and it never works,
well,
maybe try something else.
Like it just, like we pointed out, right? It opens stuff. Cat Solar, no. Cat Solar, yeah, get away from that. You open stuff, you blow stuff up. So you're opening walls and doors, and then you're destroying utility that you can't shoot. And you do both of those things to allow you to then go and have a gunfight. All that lineup does is facilitate gunfighting, which is only one part of the game that is Siege. Nothing they're bringing actually facilitates any kind of winning a fight. Aside from maybe a Zofia concussion charge.
Yeah, I mean, they got flashes, they got frag grenades, that would be great. And another trade, at least numerically, comes out. Karyudo falling, and Mats as well. So those kills from Mats that they've enjoyed a bit recently. Oh, what a wall bang from Rastin! Chalky taken out outside of the window. What a shot there from the Legion. Fantastic crosshair placement, and he gets another onto Sky Ivan. Is that in the same place?
Ears up. Uh-oh. Oh, the holographic sight gets in the way. The Ash jumps in and manages to net the kill onto Wes. C4 down, but plenty of cameras hopefully still operational. Slifer and Suspended by themselves with 1 minute and 40 on the clock. This is their last chance to get a win on their attacking half.
1 minute 30 remaining. Half of the round left. Now, it's not a huge man disadvantage, so it's perfectly doable from here. This is where they need to just build themselves up and make it happen. Killiator, they know he's going to play quite aggressive here. How aggressive do they think he might play? No, Slifer, he was ready just in case, but he didn't properly check. He didn't see through his own hole well enough. Just a bit of smoke, a bit of something there. Blocked his view, and he was taken out straight away. Punished for just a tiny split second of not checking it.
Pause this, but the wall banging from both soft walls and pre-firing the door. He gets away, but takes a bunch of damage for it. The smoke is still up. Malusi's and a Legion. Could you pick 3 operators that you want to do against less?
No,
Catsola
gentlemen,
on an absolute tear.
He is mad right now. So is the scoreline. I'm not sure this has ever happened in ECS because we've seen forfeits. Yeah, like we saw Jaegers versus Skittle last week. I mean, they won 14-0, but that was because of a forfeit. This is not a forfeit. This is a game trying to be contested. We could be headed to a full 14-0 here. I feel so. I mean, Killiator went massive on Clubhouse. He's going 3-3 here. It hasn't been super present. Look at the scoreboard though. Both Catsola, Rastin, and Karyudo all with 7 kills. Rastin going 7-3. It is the first of the month, but Aqualix, they haven't been pinched or punched. They've been just freaking pounded. They've been
someone's put a sledgehammer through their cranium. Like,
oh, it's not. It's a little bit saddening to watch.
I think we've learned something.
But this is what Mats has said. Yeah, we've learned a lot. I hope Aqualix have as well. And they're bringing a mixed-up lineup. This is not necessarily the standard here on the top floor, which is where they've opted for. Mats did say at the start he's looking for a 7-1. So maybe this is his last chance to get it. Yeah, it's match point here.
I simultaneously want to be on like Maker's staff to see inside what training and teamwork goes into producing this. I also want to be on a team that goes against them, because this is like when you play ranked and you come up against a team that is playing together really well, and you start like bouncing off of that and trying to adapt and improve and contest. That I think is the most fun you can have in Siege against someone who's better. And then you try and adapt. Suspended, good start. Shuts down Killiator, making sure that no Nomad air jabs will be deployed throughout the map. A really good early pick. No, mad. Air jabs being deployed across the map. It's going to be a really good pick early on. Catsola, nice early presence on Armory Stairs.
Oh wait, no, it's no mad jabs, mad.
Thank you.
That's how you do it.
I couldn't abide having that as a mistake I had made and let it go uncorrected. Mats, he's now taking the role of Catsola. He's beneath. He's got a nitro cell and he's lurking away. Have they drawn?
Oh no! I just knew it was coming. Chalky, his position known, I think, by the Ash of Karyudo. She just waits for him to step out and contest trophy. I think
The breach has already happened. Oh, Rastin with a beautiful shot. Traded Mats, shuts down Karyudo though. He's lurking beneath, and Nitro Cell flies up, but there's no one there. They're already in walk-in, the breach is already open, and so the C4 is wasted. in a 3 versus 3. And like every round we've seen so far, we've seen plenty of 3v3s end in a really, really closely contested fight that has gone.
Oh,
Ooh.
Mats gets the better of Rastin from underneath. The frag grenade from Katsola, not netting a kill. It actually destroys his own frag grenade. Frag grenade from... Of course, his frag grenade destroys his own frag grenade. It blew up itself.
What a pity.
That is the point. No, it blew up Wes's drone inside of the site, so he's had to put another one in, slowing down this attack, giving the defenders a bit more time to readjust. And you can see they've now newly positioned themselves, ready to counter this move. Of course, the diffuser still needs to be picked up over by that breach. I think they're just maybe waiting for some aggression. They might move... I'm not sure what the plan will be here from Makers, but at the moment, they're facing potentially towards Aquilix's first round. Mats, the prophecy could come true.
Katsola going for quite a long rotate here, adjusting his entry position. Matt's lying really close. They had a drone in here, but has it been destroyed, or is it going to be calling this position out?
It was mute jam to some degree, but Wes has the intel. Max turns away at exactly the wrong time. Sky Ivan falls as well. This could be the 14-0. Katsola frag grenading himself. He's got to watch out. The frag grenade not...
2. Hey, Aquilix take a round. It didn't help that he frag grenaded himself.
I mean, yeah, the frag grenade destroyed itself earlier on. The frag grenade also destroying almost its owner at the end of that round. Aquilix, they take 1 point here today. And it almost went wrong right at the end there, but just about clawed one out. So you know what? Well done. Barnell, you know what I'm going to say now?
No.
This is where the comeback begins.
Oh, no, I don't have the... no,
we are headed to 6-6.
No!
This is where it begins, boys.
I don't know that it's worth it for them.
This isn't like a game of chess you play with Noah where you just lose and that's that. We are bringing this all the way out. We're bringing it all the way to the stalemate. You know what?
I don't know if it's worth it for 1 point to battle against this. And it came so close that for one of that frag grenade, that was Maker's round. I hate to say it, but Aquilix had no business winning that, even though it was a 2 versus 3. The timing of the Valkyrie prone, hiding, seemingly unseen, and then the second he gets up to walk away, the Hibana pushes it. I mean, whether that was like hearing the prone person getting up and choosing then to move, or it's just timing. Whatever the case.
Sure. I don't know what the intel was for Mats as well, because obviously he had his cameras down. I imagine he had probably quite a common one in Master, as people often do, and lost that. Makers probably, given how effective they've been in clearing utility on their attacks, I imagine they were looking for those Valkyrie cams straight away, took them out. I 100% didn't know there was a drone hole there. I'm a moron. Did you know that, Barnell?
Yeah, I did. It's from a similar position back from...
I always throw my drone in the window thinking, I wish there were a drone hole here.
Well, it's confusing because there was no freezer stairs before.
I guess, yeah, I don't check when new maps come out if there's like different stuff. It doesn't matter. Aquilix, they've got that 1 round on the board and now they're feeling rejuvenated. They'll be so much happier with themselves. Frag grenades coming out from Katsola, adopting the Iana. Was it him on it last time? I think it was.
Either way,
we have the same lineup.
Either way, on this first laundry attack, Carioto beginning the pressure into into bunker by himself. 2 defenders, both playing laundry, and a mirror window staring at him with an awful lot to work on. The smoke there as well. But Aquilix going for a very tight hold. No roam coming out.
No! No! What a horrible situation for Skyhaven to find himself in. Chalky falling early on the smoke is an absolute disaster, especially going 0-8 in this match so far. He's not even managed to get himself a kill. Matt's bringing things back. He gets 1. His teammate falls on the opposite side to Katsola yet again on top of the kills at the moment. 2 players remaining. Sitting off on the other side. It's a north versus south. At the moment, blue versus orange.
I mean, it's the site versus laundry at this point. The defenders now lock themselves through. The rotate a beautiful shot from Katsola. It's only suspended, holding this up from a 14-1 victory. Raston begins sticking the plant down, suspended already on quarter health. Begins the firing, but Wes is the one to finish things up. And Makers Academy, not even the main team, Makers Academy, tie a bow around, I think, one of the most utterly dominant performances I think I've seen at ECS or EEG. I think Killiator is sad because he maybe voted for or bet on a 14-0. So sorry for your channel points, but man, what a... I mean, Killiator fell back a little bit on the kills in that round, but apart from that, 8-9-9-9. I don't think I've seen that close a spread of a scoreboard for a team. I mean, all of them fragging incredibly reliably, close together. Earlier on, you said that you spoke to Aquilix about how to defeat Makers, and I think we can give a much more informed answer right now. Of they are.
I certainly can. They didn't bring Clash.
They didn't bring Clash. Makers' positioning is incredible. Their movement incredible, and their gun skill of the standard of a good competitive team, consistently so. I didn't see much utility usage from them that was groundbreaking. They didn't rely on utility to win rounds. They were relying on movement, team play, and gun skill. Admirable traits, but there is a third part of this game. And if you can hit that hard, I think you can stand a chance. If you don't, that happens.
What I would give to see Shreks and Hobbits versus Makers Academy. I mean, we've still got time to go. Of course, not Shreks and Hobbits, but looking at some of the teams in Major Division who will be going for those top spots and then probably, well, quite possibly facing them in the playoffs, like Jaeger's Academy, like the two academy teams who are on fire at the moment, that would be Lions Creed even.
I don't know that they could hold up to it, to be honest. I don't know if that's maybe because this matchup was Makers versus in this particular matchup, Aquilix playing a little bit down here, or and we see Lions Creed Jaegers kind of fighting here, so it feels like there's less of a disparity. I don't think they could hold up to that.
Wow. Well,
but we will see. For now, I think we all just need to take a deep breath and I guess throw some Fs in chat for Aquilix, because, well, hopefully they can recuperate themselves from that and get themselves nice and revved up for the next matchups to come. But for now, for tonight, that is all from us here at ECS. Thank you so much for joining us for that absolute devastation. That was great fun. So congratulations to Makers. Better luck next time, Aquilix. And for now, for me at least, that is goodbye and good night. And what about you, Eric? What's your sign off?
Feeling, I can't seem to let it go. Locked in this cage, I've been stuck here for days and I can't seem to let you go. You pull me up and I put you down. You gave me love, then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Pushed you out, pushed you out. Come let me make up for all these pain. I've been a mess, tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. Can we be free? Then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Pushed you out, pushed you out. Don't let me make up for all these pain. I've been a mess, tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. You pull me up and I put you down. You gave me love, then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Pushed you out, pushed you out. Don't let me make up for all these pain. Tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. Can we be free?
Send my heart into the sound.